In 1495, following a 15-day period of mourning for his late wife Beatrice d'Este, Duke Ludovico Sforza commissioned Leonardo da Vinci to paint the end wall of the monks' refectory in the Church of Santa Maria delle Grazie, in Milan. At that time, frescoes were usually executed in tempera on wet plaster. The paint was absorbed quite firmly into the ground, and the image was preserved for a long time. In his works, Leonardo employed the so-called SFUMATO technique. This technique requires numerous layers of paint. Consequently, oil paint on dry plaster was mainly chosen as the medium, and the work dragged on for 3 years. Due to experiments with the ground and pigments, the painting began to deteriorate after 20 years, and the fresco faced severe trials in the years that followed. As early as 1517, the paint began to flake off due to damp. Later, a doorway was cut through the fresco, subsequently bricked up. Then the refectory was used as a prison. When French troops invaded Italy, an armory was set up in the refectory. During the Second World War, the building was bombed. Sandbags prevented bomb fragments from hitting the fresco, but the vibrations could have caused damage. The first attempts to save the painting were made as early as the 18th century. And in the 19th century, the restorer Stefano Baretti tried to move the fresco to another location, but realizing that it was a large painting rather than a fresco, he attempted to glue the damaged areas back into place. The Gospel according to Matthew. Now, when evening was come, he was seated at table with the 12 disciples. And while they were taking food, he said, "Truly, I say to you that one of you will be false to me." And they were very sad, and said to him one by one, "Is it I, Lord?" And he made answer and said, "He who puts his hand into the plate with me, the same will be false to me. The Son of Man goes, even as the writings say of him. But a curse is on that man through whom the Son of Man is given up. It would have been well for that man if he had never come into the world." And Judas, who was false to him, made answer and said, "Is it I, Master?" He says to him, "Yes." And when they were taking food, Jesus took bread, and, after blessing it, he gave the broken bread to the disciples and said, "Take it, this is my body." And he took a cup, and having given praise, he gave it to them, saying, "Take of it, all of you, for this is my blood of the testament, which is given for men for the forgiveness of sins." The subject of Leonardo's painting depicts the moment when Christ revealed that one of his disciples would betray him. We see the subsequent reactions of those present in response to these words. The dining room, on the end wall of which the painting is depicted, is not large, and in order to visually enlarge the space, Leonardo used the method of linear perspective pioneered by the sculptor and architect Brunelleschi. This method involves parallel lines converging at a single point on the horizon, with their lengths proportionally diminishing as they approach it. In the painting, all the converging lines meet, at Christ's downcast eye. By this alone, the artist has established the central figure of the composition. And although the God-man sits at the table surrounded by the apostles, he appears to us utterly alone and detached from the passions raging around him. Da Vinci achieved this effect by clearly dividing the remaining 12 figures into 4 groups of 3. Looking from left to right, the first group consists of Bartholomew, son of Talmai, a native of Cana in Galilee; James the son of Alphaeus, son of Alphaeus, brother of Thaddeus; Andrew, brother of the Apostle Peter, a fisherman from Bethsaida; a disciple of John the Baptist. The second group, Judas Iscariot from the village of Cariot, who betrayed Jesus Christ. Peter, also known as Simon the Rock, brother of the Apostle Andrew. John, son of Zebedee, also called the theologian, brother of the Apostle James. Third group, Thomas of Yehuda. James, son of Zebedee, brother of the Apostle John. Philip of Bethsaida. The fourth group, Matthew, the tax collector, also known as Levi, son of Alphaeus, the evangelist. Judas Thaddeus, also known as Judas, son of James, or Levi, brother of the Apostle James, son of Alphaeus. Simon the Canaanite, also known as Simon the Zealot. All the participants in the Last Supper, each in their own way, are discussing the terrible news. All except Judas Iscariot. He, having turned away from Christ, has knocked over the salt shaker. Holding the money bag in one hand, he is trying to grab the dish with the other. This is the subject of official iconography. But there are also inconsistencies with the text in the painting. For instance, one of Christ's hands points to the loaves laid out before him. In theory, the other hand should likewise point to the cup of wine, but it pushes it away from him. According to the official version, it is unclear why there is extra bread at the outer edge of the table, what role the scattered salt and the cooked fish on the plates play, and what Leonardo da Vinci himself, depicted as one of the apostles, is doing this version. All these questions are clarified if we imagine that the figure of Christ represents a messenger of nature who has come to tell people of the wonders taking place beyond the confines of their narrow cell. Now, the reaction of those present to the unexpected news takes on a different meaning. In this version, the Apostle Simon has become one of the main characters. In the painting, Simon sits firmly at the right-hand end of the table. Leonardo has given him the features of a man who cannot be persuaded of anything. And now Leonardo's purpose becomes clear. He is depicted beside him in the guise of Judas Thaddeus. As a scholar, Leonardo attempts to explain the mysteries of the universe to a man who is impervious to new ideas. To the left, Matthew, stretching his hands towards the messenger, joins in the effort to persuade. The next group consists of those who have listened and understood. Philip, raising his hands to his chest, shows that the words spoken have taken root in his soul. James, the son of Zebedee, spreading his arms wide, is convinced of the immensity of this light, whilst Thomas, raising his index finger to the sky, seems to say that all that exists has been created from above. Immediately to the right of Christ, the artist has placed John. In this version, too, he is given the role of the beloved disciple. With his charm, he is called upon to subdue Peter, who holds a knife in one hand. Peter is depicted as a warrior accustomed not to comprehend, but to take by force, and John's tightly clasped fingers symbolize that the sacraments are kept under lock and key from such people. And beneath Judas Iscariot is depicted yet another antithesis, whose very appearance seeks to assert that gold reigns supreme, that everything is bought and sold. The final group is that of the callers. Leonardo da Vinci's painting was painted on the wall of the refectory, where long tables stood beneath the painting, at which the monks consumed their daily bread. It is to them, through the characters he has created, that the artist addresses himself. First, through Andrew, who, with his palms turned towards the monks, declares, "The words spoken by Christ are directed at you who sit below. Do not attempt to plunder, for bloodshed is abhorrent to heaven. Recall the hand rejecting the cup of wine, symbolizing blood. Do not betray or sell out. do not engage in extortion. Money, though it has its own sharp taste, scatters as quickly as spilled salt in the wind. Then the artist suggests following the example of James, the son of Alphaeus, and listening attentively to the wise words. And finally, like Bartholomew, he urges us to rise from our well-worn bench, not to be like boiled fish, for boiled fish is akin to a dead man, but to rise and try to comprehend the world around us, all the more so as, with his other hand, Christ points to the many loaves, a symbol of natural riches laid out before him not only for the monks, but also for